So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on another fun-filled edition of the Real Estate Backstory. Today's June 15th, and so my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One.
And I'm Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realtor Partners and Realty Partners.
So we really appreciate you coming out and joining us. So we do this every week. We kind of go over, the state of the real estate market kind of thing. And our whole gig with the real estate backstory is we try and show like what's really going on behind the scenes, what we're seeing in our marketplace, what's really been happening, and just kind of what our take on everything really is. So we kind of want to jump right in this week into education. And so, we're going to start off and just kind of go, we have 2 CE classes this week coming up kind of thing. These are free CE classes this Tuesday. It's a virtual CE class. We kind of want to jump. Okay. She throws me off every week when she does that. And so I apologize about that. But so again, we have 2 CE classes. One is on Tuesday, and it's the Ultimate Buyer System. And Lynn is going to be teaching that out of the Emerson office. And on Thursday, we also have licensed law for agents and brokers. Now, this does
satisfy the license law requirement. I have a couple agents I know past week asked me about it. So Dennis and Tony Walker, this is for you, my friends.
So we got that ready to go there. So please jump into either of those classes. Ming and I aren't teaching this week, but we are back on the schedule next week. So we have a little bit of a bye week, but please join us on, we'll be on those classes too. We're just not teaching them this week. So also today, I really we want to introduce you to Matt Harrelson. And he is the founding father, owner. He is the head guru at Curb Appeal, real estate photography. Matt, if you'd unmute yourself, we'd love to kind of introduce you here. So we love working with Matt. And so, one thing that we like to do is we like to bring in industry professionals from around, throughout the different, different types of businesses that we interact with on a regular basis. And so Matt does a phenomenal job. And so we kind of wanted to put Matt on the hot seat a little bit and kind of talk to him about real estate photography, what he really does. One of the things that we find the most intriguing for us is that we really love photography and how our listings truly look, how good they look, the whole 9 yards. It's so important to us that because especially right now with COVID, the way COVID is, we're seeing that people are deciding which houses they're going to go look at based on the photography, based on how good those pictures look. They pull up the MLS and they go, ooh, pretty, let's see that. Oh, that looks nice. Or, that one looks like somebody took it with an iPhone and it's sideways and things like that.
And sometimes it's lopsided.
So I'm just going to be really, really honest with you and tell you that 100% I think you should use a photographer. But, and we use Matt a lot. But the bottom line is that we also would like to have, we're hoping that Matt will kind of share with us a little bit, what he's, how he looks at photography and that kind of stuff. So Matt, if you would kind of
unmute yourself.
If you can unmute yourself and kind of jump in here.
You might unmute him.
Oh, no, you're still muted.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. No worries.
Awesome. Thanks for that introduction. And hello, everyone. Again, my name is Matt. I'm the owner of Curb Appeal Photography. And I started the business about 3, almost going on 4 years ago. And basically with one client. And now we work with probably over 300 agents around the Atlanta metro area. So I am definitely out there in the trenches every single day. I mean, even through the pandemic, we actually were busier during the pandemic than we were prior. So, and I'll tell you the reason why we were was due to the fact that obviously everything right now is virtual. And so that translates also to the real estate world, where realtors are still trying to be safe, trying to service their clients, but have a new thing that they can use to bring in people. And that thing we were doing is the virtual tours. So basically, out of every shoot we were doing, probably we're doing 1 out of 2 virtual tours along with those photographs. And the response I've gotten from realtors is that it's really made an impact. Because again, people are concerned still of going into people's houses. The homeowners are concerned about people coming into their houses, touching their furniture, coughing all their stuff around their house. So, yeah. And so it has really benefited. Now, again, whether that trend stays after we get the vaccine, hopefully we'll get a vaccine, who knows? But, you know, again, one of the things that I was told is, you know, the millenniums are sort of like the next big real estate purchasers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are already, yeah.
Yeah, and the millenniums love this kind of technology, okay? They are really lazy as far as going out. So they like
their research. They're research heavy, okay? So they like to see all these things before, you know, it's like looking at all the models of car before you even test drive it. So that's exactly right. That's their philosophy.
But you are right. We are seeing, you know, there are some new trends in how buyers are buying properties right now. You know, we've actually had, you know, not us personally, but I know of transactions that have occurred almost 100% virtually kind of thing. They like showed up at the house prior to closing kind of thing. They drove by beforehand. And so while I'm not necessarily suggesting that, we are seeing that people are using photography and video much more importantly. You know, the use of virtual tours and being able to walk through a home and see how it's laid out before you ever go. It really is. It's becoming one of those things that when you don't have it, it's hurting your listing in our opinion. So
I would tell you, I am about free 99. Okay, so it took Alan a very long time to convince me to use professional photography because I bought a really nice iPhone, and it does take good picture. But I can tell you right now, the angles and the way how they can make the room look wider without distorting the pictures. Is so much more worth it. And honestly, your objective is getting the client in the door, because if you can't even get them in the door, you're definitely not going to sell it.
Yeah, Mink's picture stunk. But
hey, be nice.
It took a while. So, but you know, like when you're taking pictures, Matt, you know, do you have, you know, for like what all goes through, because I look at your photos and they are amazing, phenomenal, and I take my pictures and I think, okay, a 12-year-old took these pictures. Like, why is what you do so much better than what we do?
Okay, so there's a few things, because you know, I see things through a different lens than the most average people. I mean, as a photographer, we're always looking like through the lens of a photographer's eye. So, you know, the first thing we do when we walk into the house, I'm scoping the house. I'm looking at the lights. I'm looking at different types of lights, because again, within a certain room of the house, you can have 5, 6 different types of lights in that room. You got your daylight coming through the windows. You got your incandescent lights. You got your tungsten lights. You got any other lights that are in that room. So I'm looking around. And again, in my head, I know I have to do this. I have to open up all the windows. Okay. Now, the other thing too is, like, you know, there could also be too much light, you know, so there's not enough light and then there's too much light, you know. So we have to kind of adjust for that, you know. And so that's one of the things that people that are trying to take pictures with their iPhone and stuff, they're just not photographers. They're not trained that way. They just know that they can pull out their phone, you know, hold it in their hands and then do, you know, and click pictures. But the other thing too is that when you hand hold things, you're not going to get the best crisp, sharp shot, you know. And the one thing that you can definitely tell as a professional versus amateurs are what's called your verticals. When you look at professional photos, all the pictures are going to be absolutely vertical, 100% straight. Okay. And that to me is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to photography with real estate. Because
I have two, yeah, that's one, but yeah, definitely the leaning house, and
Exactly.
then the pictures of the open toilets always get me. So those are the two that really drive me insane.
Yep. Yeah. So again, it's about walking into a place and assessing it and knowing exactly, you know, what you want to take. The angles makes a huge difference in every photos we take, you know, because we walk around the room and we're scoping out, okay, what's going to be the best angle to showcase this area, or what, you know, they have this great remodeled kitchen, you know, what's going to be the best angle to show the countertop that shows all the appliances, the new appliances, the whatever, you know, is it going to be a straight on, you know, or is it going to be more of an angle? I mean, we take all that in consideration. And again, we don't just take one shot, you know, we take multiple shots. And it's not just one shot of that scene. We take what's called bracketing. You know, bracketing is we take a flash shot to highlight or to show off all the colors of the room, but then we take what's called 3 ambient shots. And what the ambient shots does, it allows us to pull all of the color from that scene, from the highlights to the very shadows and everything in between. So when we take those 4 photos that we shot, we put it through our own processing system, our own editing, and we create that image. So again, it's not just one shot that does it. It's a combination of many shots, hand blended, you know, by, again, you know, editors like myself and my other photographer, Milt. I mean, we are expert editors. We've been working in Photoshop for 20 plus years. Okay. And again, you know, we have that experience where most people don't. I mean, yeah, they've heard of Photoshop, but again, you know,
that's a piece. That's a piece of software. We played with it a long time ago and gave up on it. Honestly, there's just like anything. If you're not in the industry, if you don't know what you're doing, there's always updates that you're not aware of. So therefore, it's more time consuming than it is worth it. Now, average, Matt, just really quick, if you don't mind,
Sure.
how long does it take you to produce the pictures on your standard, extended, and upgrades? How long does it take you to produce those images?
But now, because I've been doing it for so long and we have our process down, you know, it takes probably per image, probably about 20 to 30 minutes per image. Now, when I first started doing it, it took me hours because, again, being as proficient as I was in Photoshop, there was so much that I still had to understand and learn. You know, so it took me hours. But now, like I said, because I am proficient at it and we have a process, you know, 20 minutes, we can create, you know, these images. So say, for instance, a 15 photo package that we offer, you know, I can finish those, you know, probably within an hour and a half, you know. And sometimes, you know, it just takes longer. I mean, you know, depends on the size of the house. You know, we're shooting a multi-million-dollar house, you know, that has 70 plus images. Obviously, that's going to take a heck of a lot longer.
Yeah. So just agent, just so you know, there's a lot of work and process in photography. So you wonder why the photographer charges what they do is because just like us real estate agents, we get paid for our expertise, and therefore same thing. I can tell you right now, what takes Matt an hour and a half, it's going to take me about 3 and 4 hours. Okay. And that 3 and 4 hours, I probably can sell another property or prospect more clients. So for me, it doesn't make sense to take the photo. Not only that, you know, when you tell your client, I'm having a professional photographer come to your house, take the pictures, it only make you look that much better. And yes, and some of the photos that we see online are very glossy. Matt's picture are very realistic, but at the same time, they're very sharp. So therefore, it's not a fake photo, so to speak. Well, you know, because I seen the glossy ones, and like I said, it makes people like reject. We know it doesn't look that good.
Right.
So, but his is more realistic, and also at the same time sharpen the angles of the feature of the home.
So do you ever get depressed, Matt? Last time you took photos for us, you know, you did all this work. We put it on the market 3 days we're under contract. All that work is then like that's the thing about like you take somebody's wedding photography, you know that's going to stay with them for forever.
Yeah.
Like no
No,
offense, I haven't looked at those pictures since we uploaded them, kind of
No,
thing.
that's-
I don't mean to be mean about that, but you know, on one hand, that's part of the reason why I think we sold it, went under contract so quickly. But on the other, you know, it's got to be a little bit depressing for you.
No, actually, you know what? It's not. That's my goal. I mean, to be quite honest, that is our ultimate goal, is to get these pictures out to our clients. And if it goes, you know, and if they have, you know, tons of visitors and it's selling 3 days, that's awesome. That's what we want. You know, that's the system working, you know? So no, I don't get depressed. I'm like,
Okay,
you know,
good.
Next, you know, I'm like, let's
Like,
go.
next.
All right,
Hey, really quick, I do know Matt give us Maximum Partner agents a 10% discount, I believe. And so when you do go on his website, order, he does this thing automatically. You go online, you book it, and you can just order whatever you want, and it'll tell you what available dates he has. And but if you put, what's the promo code, Matt?
It's SAVE, SAVE 10, and that give you 10% off.
There you go.
Sweet.
Well, thank you, Matt.
All
We
about
appreciate
saving the
you.
money. So, and thank you for your time, Matt. We really appreciate you sharing some photography insights and that kind of stuff. And again, our approach is that, you know, don't do it yourself. It's like being a for sale by owner, you know, kind of thing when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
We're not experts in photography, so let's get an expert. So Matt, we really appreciate you this morning. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
All right,
have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, moving on. We're going to jump into lead-based paint. We talked about this last week a little bit, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail now. Just FYI, we'll be talking about lead-based paint next week as well, when we're going to have the attorneys from Luter Larkin with us, and we're going to be discussing lead-based paint with them as well. So we just really quickly wanted to go over the new lead-based paint disclosure information form. This is on the GAR form. The challenge here is that on the RE form has not been updated since 2012. The GAR,
when it first came out.
Yeah. So, but the GAR form has been updated, and it was recently just updated again to fix some other issues. But you know, one of the big things that we have to understand is that even though Georgia is a
signature.
Well, but it's all, but you know, we don't, you know, our clients don't have to disclose. They always should, but you know, the lead-based paint is a new federal, well, not new, but it's a federal law where the seller has to declare what they know about the lead-based paint situation in the property, kind of thing. It is required, kind of thing. It is not a, hey, you know,
it's not an option,
right? And so that's the whole 9 yards here, kind of thing. And so when we do on a property that's built before 1978, you know, this has to be in here. The other issue here is that if you look on here, that this agreement has to be filled out for you know,
listing. So when you, as a listing agent, I'm gonna take over a little bit.
Jump in, girl.
So for listing purposes, when you list a property that's built prior to 1978, you have to have the seller initial the lead-based paint pamphlet, the brochure, along with this disclosure. Okay, both of these things has to be done before a binding contract.
That's the trick.
And that is the law. That's a federal law. And right now they're going through the brokerages right now in multiple states auditing these files. And if in any, this is not a during due diligence period, get it signed. This is supposed to be done prior to. Now, if you made a mistake, yes, you can correct it. But we got to show proof that this was actually being given to the buyer, signed by the seller prior to binding agreement date.
It's really, really important that we have that, because you know, lead-based paint's just not one of those jokes, or not something you can play with. The minimum fine is $11,000 up to $16,000, and it's for every single violation. So if you have 3 violations, that's $50,000 roughly, kind of thing.
So yeah. So as the selling agent, when you make an offer, this has to be in there, signed by the buyer. Okay.
And so, you know, this is moving down.
Moving down on this second portion, seller landlord disclosure, you have to check one of the answers, and 2B. It's 2 questionnaires, not one. A lot of times, seller will only check one, not the other. Both of them has to be disclosed. On the third one, I know GAR just changed his form in May 22nd. Used to say check only one. Well, the problem is 3.8, as we spoke last week, is that A and B are not related as far as question goes. So buyer and tenant has received copy of all information, if any, listed above. So because the seller has already disclosed, buyer need to initial 3A. On 3B, buyer tenant has to read and understand the above lead-based paint warning statement and has received a pamphlet. So buyer's agent, you got to give this to your client, okay? No exceptions. And number C, where buyer and tenant has, now this is the one you only initial one below, okay? Either 10 days to review the lead-based paint or wait the opportunity, okay? So that's important for the buyer to choose on C as well. Initial and all A, B, and C area, which one they want to do. And listing agent on the broker acknowledgement, you have to do that, okay? That's not really a selling agent's initial, but a listing agent.
Right. And so here's where we're signing off. And so this is where the fines come for individual agents in here, because we have to sign off on this. The other thing is that we are certifying that this is accurate to the best of our knowledge, kind of thing. And so, we're basically saying, hey, we made sure this is done correctly. So we have to make sure that this is done correctly each and every single time.
Buyer, tenant, and seller landlord have to have signature and date. I know a lot of you think Authentic Sign has a little stamp underneath their name. That's not sufficient, y'all. You got to put a date next to it. So when you do Authentic Sign, you can right-click the signature name and add a date, okay? Same thing as, I'm sorry.
I went back.
Yeah, you
did. I went too fast.
Same thing as seller, leasing broker, as well as listing broker has to be signed and dated, okay? This is a new form that came out May 22nd. All right, so going back to the previous form, this is where I have had a lot of communication with our agent, and they're like, it says initial one below on 3A. And unfortunately, what I did, I just basically, yes, Alan, your drawing skill is to be.
it's something. Hey, it's all I got. So don't knock it.
Just because it's in the initial one below, it does not mean that, because if you read the sentence on 3A and B, they're 2 separate items, okay?
Yeah, it's fixed on the new form. So if you have one of the old ones, we do need to make sure that is all complete and ready to go.
Okay, great. And that's it. I have a lead-based paint.
All right. So next we want to go over, each week I scour through the news. I keep up with everything going on in the real estate world and what's going on. And so we kind of want to share with you kind of what's going on, national news, local news, things like that pertain to our local real estate market. So first of all, mortgage rates continue to remain really, really low. Right now, it did go up 0.9 of a point. So for the 30-year fix, it's a 3.2. But when you say that went up, it's a 3.2. So, I mean, it's not like,
pretty good.
The rates are really, really great. The only caveat here is the same one that has been with us for the last month or so, and that is for the buyers who can qualify. Credit score matters, and it matters big. You can find some 600s out there for sure, but they're going to have a higher rate. We're seeing some 600s at 4.7 and 5.2.
I just saw the one last night for 5%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of steep.
So, compared to the 3%, so whereas a 640 is going to be a much better. So working, communicating with our buyers that their credit score will save them money right now. And so, that's a big deal for us to do. Mortgage applications continue to rise. They were up 13% over last year, not 13% over last month or 13%. No, this is 13% higher than a year ago. Yes, we still have COVID. Yes, we're still up 13%. So it is really, really great. So, they were actually up 5% from the week before and 13% over last year. And so the whole thing is that mortgage applications is normally an early indicator of what's going on in the buying market. So when there's a lot more mortgage applications put out there, well, then there ends up being a lot more homes put under contract, and then it eventually that moves into a closing. So that is really great. Are the mortgage rates going to stay this way? I don't necessarily have a perfect crystal ball. However, the Feds, said that through 2022, they're not planning on raising the interest rates. So, there's two ways to look at that. One is, kind of depends on they pick and choose what they choose to do as they go along. But right now, there's no indication that they have any interest in raising the borrowing rate for the banks right now, which means that we should be going through a nice little turn of continued low interest rates. The interest rates we have right now are really phenomenal. When we grew up, back in my day, we'd have, I think our first home was like 9%, 8%, something like that.
Try 11.
Oh, we had one at 11. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was way back when, kind of thing. We're kind of old. I'm old. She's not. Anyway, so, the rates are really great right now. This makes it such a great time to be a buyer because your money goes farther, and it's just such a great thing to be. So, have you heard? Opendoor is now a lender on top of it. And I know, and I bring this up in a little bit tongue in cheek because the whole thing was when Opendoor, OfferPad, Zillow, all these guys came in. They came in, and what was the big term we were hearing? Disruptor. Yeah, well, iBuyer. But they're disrupting the market. They're disrupting the market. They're disrupting the market. And so I think it was 2 weeks ago, Opendoor and OfferPad started offering brokerage services, started offering to list clients' properties, which is not disrupting at all. It's actually just another competitor. And then now they're doing lending. So I find it funny that the whole disruption model seems to be going by the wayside, and they seem to be doing a whole lot more of like regular old real estate. Hey, we're going to sell houses and offer loans because that's cutting edge. That's something we don't see a lot. I'm definitely being facetious for sure, but that's the thing is that we do see the iBuyers in our market, but they're having to be really creative right now, and so I know that they're feeling a whole lot of pressure, which doesn't bother me even slightly.
If you think about it, the iBuyers usually go for the low hanging fruit, and with inventory as 3 months is so low that they really don't have anything to pick on right now. So now they're changing their model to different other things. Yeah.
All right. So what about, the economy? How are things going? If you look at, I kind of track this every week, 5 charts that kind of show what's going on for the economic recovery in the U.S. So in the top right-hand corner, we've got Apple Maps, how many people are accessing the Apple Maps. And so transit is still pretty low, but we're seeing that driving continues to increase and get higher as it's almost back into normal levels at this point, kind of thing. Air travel continues to move up. U.S. home purchases are back up to where they were, and we're actually seeing it. There's normal fluctuations range now, kind of stuff. Restaurant bookings are back up. Hotel rates occupancy rates they're not back yet. Just like, air travel isn't back yet, but they are showing positive trends. And that to me is the really important thing, kind of thing. There was a new study that came out that showed the housing recovery index kind of thing. So realtor.com put this thing out called a housing recovery index, which they put out all these different factors which show which metros are the fastest rebounding metros in the United States. And guess what? We made the list. We're one of the top 6 in the nation on housing recovery. And so, but I can be real honest and say we feel that already. We're pretty much hammered. We businesses and we're blessed. We're very, very thankful. But if you're not doing business right now, I'll just be real honest with you. It's on you. Not to be mean about it, but if you're not out hustling and making some things happen, it's on you, because right now the market is pretty much on fire. You know, at the
It
beginning of this
is.
thing, we're just, you know, I did a little bit of a joke thing, you know, the real estate market's on fire, but it really is. Things are really, you know, right now, summer is our new spring. So we're going to see how long summer runs into the fall this year. It's going to be kind of interesting to see. But man, you know, things really are looking really, really strong.
Well, this morning, Mark Jenkins walked in the McDonald office trying to get, was getting the earnest money. So, you know, while he waits, he sent out a voicemail to all his clients, say, hey, you know, time to stop paying your rent. Time to stop dealing with the landlord. I can show you how to get your own home. I'm hosting a first time Zoom webinar, home buyer seminar. So come join me. So things like this, where he's Legionnaire, I'm sure, Mark, thank you. Anyways, but anyway, things like this would help you generate some business through your sphere contacts and stuff like that. Really quick, Sheila James mentioned on the workplace that she has noticed too, Opendoors only offer 1.5% selling commission. I believe that's what she said, to the selling agent. So as a selling agent, you know,
I'd be
I'd be a little
the other
hesitant.
thing about Opendoor and OfferPad, all those guys, is they change week to week.
Yes, so y'all be careful when you look at the special addendum or stipulation. Make sure you read that carefully, because sometimes they will change the norm of business.
We've seen them change in the same week.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen them go from 8% to 6% to 5% back to 9%. So they're all over the place. So,
and just to answer one question that came in workplace really quick, back to lead base paint, Bobby Kirk wants to know if the listing agent did not do their due diligence on lead base paint. What federal mandate is saying is that as a selling agent, we got to make sure the buyer has a pamphlet, the lead base is signed by the buyer, and when you submit the offer to the seller, of course, the seller will sign that before it go binding. So this is how you get around not being outbidded. Just make sure as a selling agent that you're doing your due diligence and taking care of your portion of it. I don't really care what the other side's doing. Honestly, that's between them, their broker. But for our side, we need to be due diligent and make sure we have that base issue addressed.
Yep. Nationally, we're seeing the same kind of thing on growth. Sorry, I'm jumping back
It's
in
okay.
here.
Sorry.
You know, we aren't seeing the recession in the housing market the same way. You know, we're up 4.3% over last year, but we continue to have some real challenges on availability of housing, availability of listings. Matter of fact, there's a new study came out and said that Americans are more eager to buy after COVID, post-COVID right now. So, you know, we've been tracking this, and 53% of people are more likely to buy a home in the next year now. You know, 20% are less likely, but 27% it hasn't changed that much. But 53% of folks are ready to buy, and a lot of that is fueled out of the pandemic itself, kind of thing, which is kind of interesting because it was going to be the end all be all for.
But now there's so much pent up. You know, if you think about being quarantined in a house and you got to convert your room or a portion of your living room or dining room into an office, now you have outgrown the house. So, you know, don't be surprised if people are asking for a house with an office space.
Yep. So we're seeing demand is up 25%. At the same time, we're seeing that new listings are 15% below where they were last year. So we have a 25% demand on one hand and a 15% reduction in inventory on the other. So why are prices going up? Duh, it's supply versus demand kind of thing.
And I know we're still having some appraisal issues, but they're real. What I'm seeing predominantly is on VA loans where they're calling for tide water. Listing agents, make sure if you're in that area where you weren't sure from the beginning, go ahead, tell your client, your seller, let's do an appraisal up front, simply because I think you're on a teetering edge. And I know this is what you want to sell this house for, but unfortunately, you know, if we don't hit this on before the appraisal come, then we may have an issue and also price reduction.
Yep. So we continue to see unemployment as one of those issues that can drag this down, you know, but the positive side on unemployment is it continues to improve every single week. And that's been a really good thing. New study comes out and finds that most Americans are less anxious about paying their bills than they were, kind of thing. It is, if you're old like me, you're less worried. The younger the American is, a little bit more anxious they become, kind of thing. So overall, though, we are seeing a very positive trend. One of the trend that we see that we really like is that renters are less likely to renew their lease after the pandemic. A lot of your rental facilities, they closed the fitness centers, closed the clubhouses, closed the pools, and part of the whole benefit now they're in tight with other people, and and everyone wants to kind of get away.
Mm-hmm.
Now's the time to help them find a house. To me, one of the best markets right now to be reaching out is in the rental market. The people who are renting, who are going to be, their lease is coming up in the next 2-3 months, kind of thing. Now's the time to reach out to these folks. It is such a great opportunity because we're seeing more people want to stop renting and start buying, kind of thing. We also had more good news. Mortgage bailouts shrunk for a second week in a row. The people that are going into forbearance, or there's more borrowers coming out of forbearance that are actually in it. Forbearances fell by 112,000 since it originally started. So that's a really great idea. So we really like that. There's another new study which said, in addition, the majority of borrowers in forbearance have equity, which means in a worst case scenario, they could sell and get out of it if they had to, kind of thing. And so that's a great sign for where we are on the real estate side of things. Short-term rentals have jumped back up. I thought, we kind of felt, and we saw that some short-term rentals were a good market to reach out to try and find sellers, but the demand is back, as fears of COVID have kind of abated somewhat. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to get into that and that kind of thing, but we are seeing that short-term rentals are back, especially in those touristy markets. Like try and find a place in the mountains, try and find a place on the beach.
They're booked until August right now, y'all.
So, I did like that for being able to reach out and find some buyers or find some sellers, but it seems to be drying up. Another shift that we see is a third of employees want to work from home permanently. And this is, I know that this is not necessarily directed to housing, but it is definitely something something we have to think about, because how we market properties, how, what you look for as someone who's going to work from home from a property versus someone who is a commute is really, really different. Used to be, we saw a big influx of people all around the interstates for people that like to commute. Well, if you're not looking to do a commute, you're not as concerned with being closer to major traffic patterns, things like that. And so, this is one of those trends that we are seeing that I do believe is going to continue to affect housing, just like the open floor plan. The open floor plan has been hugely popular for years now, kind of thing. But the challenge is that, it's out in the middle. And so how do you do a Zoom call when you've got the rugrats running around and the dogs barking and, all that kind of stuff. So, we are starting to see, people that want a little bit more cut up floor plans suddenly, kind of thing, that want separate space. And so we are seeing a big demand for flex space.
Yes.
It could be a bedroom, it could be an office, it could be a study, it could be a dining room,
gym,
that kind of stuff.
Man cave.
Yeah. Man caves, basements, those kind of things are really big deals. So these are things that we need to be promoting. In the past, we may not, may not have been that great to have a formal living room / office. Well, suddenly that's a big selling feature, kind of thing. So we're also starting to see people that are really kind of shifting towards the agri-hoods. We actually have one of those here in the Atlanta market. If you don't know what that is, check up Serenbe. And I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the name. But these are agricultural based neighborhoods they're real estate neighborhoods, but they're very much about agriculture, way of life, kind of getting out there. They all have distance and space between, they plant their own food. and we are starting to see kind of an uptick in their interest right now. So make sure that you're aware of what's going on in the market when it comes to this, in case your clients look at it. This past week, Google has announced that they're going to make it impossible for lenders and realtors to target consumers based on zip code demographics. This is something that we've seen a shift in both Facebook as well. And if you were doing Google AdWords and Facebook ads, you've seen that, it used to be we had so many different categories. And I don't really feel that it was necessarily predatory, because most of the time we were doing it just to try and target individual neighborhoods, areas, that kind of thing, where we were trying to be. It's hard to be the agent for Atlanta, whereas I can really target a specific zip code. So I do understand that. But see, the whole idea is that you can't include zip code if you're going to be targeting ads based on gender, age, parental status, marital status. So you can go in zip code, but you can't go in zip code with any of the others in there. And so that's something that we see. We do have to make sure that we are being very, very careful, because we have to make sure that we're adhering to fair housing. Fair housing is really, really important. It's one of those things that makes us so strong as Americans, as an economy, the whole 9 yards. And that really got me to kind of thinking, and I kind of wanted to talk about an issue in fair housing, and it's redlining. It's been in the news some, and I was talking with some agents last week, and I got some really interesting points about redlining. Not that I'm not promoting. What I'm saying is that so many people don't know what redlining is. And as a real estate professional, you need to understand what redlining is.
And this is for educational purpose only. So
yeah, my lawyer just threw out my disclaimer there, kind of thing. but no, we gotta kind of understand, like where are we in housing today, and where have we come from? And redlining is one of those very ugly parts of the real estate market that is not pleasant to talk about and really see what really happened. The bottom line is the typical homeowner in a neighborhood that was redlined has gained 52% less in personal wealth than one that was green-lined 40 years ago. And they were incredibly racist in their policies. So first of all, redlining referred in the 1930s. It's kind of part of the whole New Deal, that kind of stuff. The government rolled out this homeowners loan corporation. And on one hand, it had some very good intentions, because during this same time is when we rolled out, or when the government rolled out 30-year loans, fixed rates on interest rates, things like that were really smart and really good, and that helped get a lot of Americans in there. Unfortunately, at the same time, Homeowners Loan Corporation went out, and so they went out and they graded neighborhoods. So anything that was graded A was colored green and considered the best, and anything that was red or categorized as D were considered hazardous. And unfortunately, and when you go back and you look at this, it was based on the percentage of Negroes in there and that kind of stuff. It was I know that's I'm not trying to use that word in any way negative. Okay, I just got a squeeze on my leg. But when this is really what's in there. When you look at the documents from this time, that's how it was written in a document. That's the time, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. So please don't take it the wrong way. But it's where the majority of white families were deemed to be best, and the majority of black families were deemed to be undesirable, kind of thing. Now, this is a map that you see right here from, that map's from Los Angeles, but like this is the actual redline map from the city of Atlanta, kind of thing, during the time. And we have seen a real shift in redlining. I mean, like those same markets or same areas are not necessarily.
This map is based on 1930s?
Oh, I mean, it all came out from the 30s, 40s, that kind of stuff. I mean, this practice stopped in the 1960s, thankfully, which never should have gone on in the first place. I'm not promoting it, but I do think that it is indicative of kind of what's gone on. And we need to understand that there are some real causes for why does the average white family have more wealth than the average black family. And you can't say it doesn't have anything to do with redlining, because it really does show that's an issue. And so, the expanded homeowner gap between black and white families is part due to redlining. There's just no doubt about it, kind of thing. The one other thing that we've seen is that, some people say, well, since the 1980s, those redlining areas have seen much greater growth. And they have, the property values in what were redline areas since the 80s have seen a higher growth percentage. But the challenge was see what, and I probably didn't explain this properly. If you were in a redlined area in the 1930s, that meant you couldn't get a mortgage. That means that they weren't going to lend money to anybody. And so so if you were in a green area, you could get a mortgage very easily. If I was in a B category, a C category, less so, and a D category was almost impossible to get a mortgage. And so who owns those properties in those same areas? Well, it wasn't the black families, because they couldn't get them back then, kind of thing. So, I'm not I think that we have to know history to make sure that we don't repeat it. And I'm not promoting anything about yay redlining, so please don't take this the wrong way. But I do think there is a phenomenal opportunity to do something about it. I'm not one that likes to, I love the protests going on. I love all the attention that everything is getting right now. But there's also this feeling of, what can I do about it? Well, there are some things that we can do about it. And so especially when talking about what can we do to help the African American community, well, let's look at home ownership. And this is something that relates to our industry right now. Home ownership, for whites is 73.7, but it's only 44% of African Americans, kind of thing. And see, we have to understand that home ownership is the linchpin for wealth building in the United States. Our wealth, our assets are tied up in our home. And if you can't buy a home, it hurts. It hurts long-term, kind of thing. So we have to understand that homeowners have an average net worth that is 36 times greater than renters. Okay. That is huge. So first of all, if you own a home, your net worth is so much greater than if you don't. Homes deliver real appreciation over time. Real estate grows between 3 to 5% every single year. And so when you own a home for 30 years, that's going to be worth a lot more money, kind of thing. Buying with a mortgage, especially with these interest rates right now, that continues this massive return on investment. As a homeowner, you enjoy tax benefits that you would not have as a renter. And then the other thing is, when you're a renter, like if you go buy a home right now and you get a great rate, how much is your payment? Well, it's going to be this amount today. Well, in 25 years, if you've got a 30-year mortgage, how much is that payment? It's going to be the same thing as it is right now, basically. But what's rent going to be 25 years from now? Is it going to be the same thing? Absolutely not. We know rents are going to continue to increase. And so that really, really hurts. And so, right now, I want to reach out and I want to improve, Black home ownership rates. I think it's very, very important. We see we see what's transpired. And so if you want to do something, let's get some more people into houses. I think is really one of the best things that we can do. And so, I know that there's a lot of tensions dealing around with race, and I'm not trying to do anything at all about race, but I do think that we need to know where we've been, and then we need to know how do we fix it. And in my industry, what I can do, I can help get people into homes. We don't have those same policies aren't in place. I can do things to get people into homes. And so I really encourage you to get out there and really jump in and let's help fix this issue. Let's help stabilize that.
And we believe in fixing the issue by education, inform the general public on what is wealth building and how can we overcome that gap. While we support voices being heard, we do not support looting or destruction of properties. So,
but that has nothing to do with this.
So I know,
yeah.
But I just want you guys to know where our heart is, because we're all about home ownership, because that's where you create your legacy.
Yeah.
This is where you pass down generations.
Exactly. So, all right. So a couple other things. We got some other new stuff or newer things that we need to talk about. So first one is Tech Thursday, hashtag Tech Thursday. We kind of renamed it this past week. So, one of the challenges we have is that there is so much technology in our industry. There's social media, agent tools. It's really easy to get lost and to not understand how those different aspects work. And so what we're doing is every single Thursday, we're gonna set time aside, 30 to 45 minutes segments where we're gonna share based on a particular topic each and every week. It starts this Thursday. There is a different topic every single week. We'll be putting out in advance what those topics are, but we're just now putting everything together. You can go to mx1training.com to sign up. You can also join us live on Zoom or live on Workplace as well. And then we'll have all the replays on Workplace, as well as you can also find them on Real Estate Backstory, just like the same place where you'll find this video is realestatebackstory.com. We started accountability this past week. It is led by Keisha Kennedy. And,
Keisha.
And so we appreciate her for doing that. I was there as well, and I probably needed to shut up a lot more. And I'll do that. I'll do much better in next week, or this week, rather. But how our accountability works is every week each member shares their goals versus their results, what their goals for next week are, what was their biggest win, what was their biggest challenge. And so we went in and based on last week, we put in a Google Drive folder, and it has a goals, and it has a weekly goal sheet. And in that weekly goal sheet, we're able to go in every single week, and you're able to go in and update what your goals are as well as what your results were, kind of thing. And then we all share that, and we can, at the bottom, it has a tab. There's an explainer video in the accountability section. Also, Keisha, share the goals assessment worksheet. We need one of those for every single person in the group. So I hope you'll join us. It's on every Tuesdays at 10.
I know some of y'all have a hard time accessing it last week, but I believe you have fixed it
all. So as far as I know, if anyone has any issues, please let us know. We also are continuing to grow our Utility Connect account. So utilityconnect.net/maximum1. This is a set up dedicated website, as well as an individual phone number that can help your clients get mail forwarding, electricity, phone, gas, TV, security, movers, internet, insurance, you name it. It is free to you. It is free to your clients. We are actually meeting with them this week and going over, and each and every agent will be getting their own individual agent portal where you can put that in. If nothing at all, please utilize the mail forwarding section on here. There is a mail forwarding. Like if you go to mail forwarding at the U.S. Postal Service, they will charge you. If you go to mail forwarding at utilityconnect.net/maximum1, it is free for your clients to have their mail forwarded. And so, they can use this as a concierge if they want to. They give your clients a list of the people and all the different entities that are operating in that field, and gives them the option, lets them choose, and then they set it up for them. So it really is a really nice concierge service. So basically connect with us in any way, shape, or form. We really appreciate you. We hope that you get value out of our little weekly meetings, and we hope that we bring value to you. I just said the same thing twice, but we just really appreciate you. I hope that everything is great this week.
And listen, you guys been rocking it. I'm so proud of you and so excited for all of y'all. You're keeping me awake at night, just so you know, but it's all good because I love seeing you guys having that much production.
Being so successful.
And please, if you have any questions or special stipulation you need to run by with me, please do so. And you can always share your document through Authentic Sign with me, but please text me beforehand and let me know it's coming, because when I get into a zone sometime, my phone is on silent. It does. I leave it. Okay. So all y'all have my personal cell number. So you're more than welcome. If you can't reach me through that way, call the office if you need to. And I'm normally in McDonough.
Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. If you need us, call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. So bye, y'all. Thank you.
Have a great day.